Good morning. It is Thursday, June 11th at 8:37 a.m. I am on my way to get some coffee. Yep, I love me some coffee. So that's where I'm going. This is Michael Freeman with Free Me LLC. You are in the car with me on the way for coffee. And today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my journey, my leadership journey. What got me to this path? What made me decide that I loved leadership and wanted to help people with it? There's such a journey that I could discuss. So as I look back, I actually think when I was even a kid, there was just something about me that I knew I wanted to do something specific. I didn't know what it was, but I knew there was a couple things. One, I'd always get frustrated with the directions of other people. Like, I didn't really like people telling me what to do. So that was a problem. Always a problem. I mean, if you are always challenging authority when you're a kid, like, that's usually a bad thing. So I had to figure out my way around that and learn how to pick my battles. So it was a good lesson. But I think it started back then. Then, as I got into college, and ran into a lot of struggles with direction and financial obligations. I didn't have money to go to school. I had to borrow everything I had. I had to, start from the 0 point. I moved away from home with pretty much nothing. I had a crappy car, a small credit card balance, almost no cash, no job. And moved a couple hours away from home to attend college to be a pilot. And, I knew flying might be expensive, but God, I didn't realize how expensive. And, not having income come in and being granted thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of student loans, it's just, it's crazy how that spirals. And I think that came into part of my leadership journey because as I started to realize what that debt was going to do to me, I started to get really frustrated with the direction that I was given. I talked to the guidance counselors and they didn't see any problem with it. I talked to my flight instructors and my regular instructors, and they didn't really give me any better guidance. My parents didn't know how to give me better guidance, and to me, just it sucked. It sucked. I was in a position that nobody could guide me through when I was on my own. I was resentful for a while until I started to think differently a little bit. Had a mindset shift where I stopped blaming everybody and started to think, if nobody can help me, maybe I should be helping myself. And then, I was working at this job. I was working at an electronics store, and I started there as seasonal and ended up sticking around, but went from being in front of people to being the box pusher, and I hated it. And I was really judgmental of my leaders at the time and really critical of them and negatively vocal, which, again, I can't sometimes help myself. And that's something that has definitely been the greatest learning, is me being able to monitor my vocality. Not a word. I made that up. Anywho. I started to have that mindset shift and realized, man, I got to find my own way out of this problem. I need to stop working part-time. I need to start applying myself. And, it was at the best time. And I told a story last week about the leader that believed in me, and she actually advocated for me. And advocation, one of the best things a leader can do for their employees. There's not too many things that will build trust and rapport better than advocation. So she advocated for me to her boss, who was the general manager of the place we worked. He's an old guy, and he wanted to fire me because my attitude. Go figure. If I were him, I'd probably want to fire me too. And she actually got me moved into another role, and I think that kind of helped me kind of see firsthand the benefit of great leadership, because her action in that helped me forge a different path and start actually working on my problems on my own. So I started to build my own income. I started to apply myself at work. I started to learn skill sets that I didn't know before, majority on my own. Like the selling process, I didn't have a lot of guidance in. I had to kind of figure that out on my own. So I did that, and then that led me to a bigger area to sell in. And then another leader came along who managed me in that area, and I'd already been there for a little while, and she came maybe a year after I was there, and she really helped guide me in understanding how to best lead a team. And she did something pretty cool that you don't always see a lot, which was she was willing to give me a lot of control over teaching and training the staff within the area that we worked in, which was technically her responsibility, but she could tell that I had a passion for it, and she allowed me to foster that skill, and she allowed me to teach and coach other people, and she gave me feedback and gave me advice and counseled me on how to do those things well. And it really helped me understand how to help people get better in whatever jobs they were doing. Like, this was actually sales, but it was cool because the process that I use really is similar in any aspect. I would keep track of whatever metrics were important. I would ask a lot of questions about how those were working and tell stories about how they worked for me. And since I wasn't their boss, like I couldn't lean on accountability or power like a lot of our leaders do today. They get a job, and it's the hammer instead of the compassion and the empathy. So me being able to practice those skills without having the title was one of the best trainings I could have gotten, because it forced me to only use my ability to connect and show empathy to people that made them want to try to listen. And it was cool because my process, as I worked through it for a number of months and years, or I think it was a year or so, it really helped me understand the process to work through something and find the path to success. Because at first it wasn't successful, but eventually over time, everybody in my work group ended up becoming better at their jobs. And it was cool to see a leader being willing to delegate and train and mentor somebody on their team that had a passion for something and a skill set for something, and that led me into my first role. And it was those couple leaders that I had early on that really shined to me and made me actually see that leadership can help a lot of people. So then over the years, as I've continued down that path, I've been leading people for almost 10 years, and I stopped leading for a while and missed it greatly, and realized that was one of the best parts of what I did for a job, and I had to go back to it as quickly as I could. So I got to experience what it was like without it, and just being willing and interested in growing my talent has shown me how leadership can benefit people, not that you just work with, but people in your life, your family, like your significant other, your kids. Like, there's so many fundamental skills that if you tap on those skills hard, the life that you can build is crazy. Now I'm looking at me running a business, and that's something that when I was in college I would have never assumed that I would do, but today it's something that I don't think I could do without. Being in a position to impact people and help them get the things that I never had when I was trying to figure this out on my own. I had to earn all these skills, and I had to figure out a lot of my own, and I was grateful for whatever guidance I had, but man, there was a lot of room for more guidance, and that's kind of what I want to give people. And since as I've been mentoring others and helping them develop their leadership skills, I think the best piece that keeps me interested in continuing down the path is watching how the people I'm interacting with and helping help other people. Like, it's paying it forward at that point. Like, once I've been teaching somebody the skills and they grasp them and they start to understand them, seeing what they're doing to help the people in their network or the people that they lead is just amazing. Like, I feel like I've had an impact on so many more people through them that, you know, I feel like it's actually changing something, and that's kind of what I hope to set out to do is change what the leadership standard is, change what we expect of those helping us and leading us, not just our bosses. I mean, there's a lot of shitty bosses, but not just them. Like, you know, how do we lead our kids? How do we lead our families? How do we, you know, how do we support our significant others, our spouses? Like, there's so much to it, and you know, that's my passion. That's what I hope to give all of you. So yeah, that's my journey so far. Some of it, I mean, there's a lot more to it, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about me. The company's Free Me LLC. That's my business, and you can find me on Facebook with the at FreeingMe, FreeingMe. You can find me on Instagram, Michael Free Me LLC, and you can find me on LinkedIn, just Michael Freeman is my name. Yeah, but connect with me there. You know, follow me if you actually go to my website. You know, I have options to schedule meetings and consultations. Those are free. So, you know, if you feel like you need help and you want some guidance, look me up. Thanks.